Welcome to Reddily. On today's episode, this is Bill Gates Asks.
With all of the negative headlines dominating the news these days, what makes you optimistic about the future?
People are talking about cancer cure here. Stanford Medicine made the biggest breakthrough in history just last month. They cured 90 out of 90 infected mice with different kinds of cancers with just one shot of medicine. The good news is often quiet and subtle. The bad news is always loud. I try to remember that.
Our headlines are splashed with crime, yet for every criminal there are 10,000 honest, decent, kindly men. If it were not so, no child would live to grow up. Business could not go on from day to day. Decency is not news. It is buried in the obituaries, but is a force stronger than crime.
My students. They handle a complex, globally interconnected society in ways my generation, undergraduate at university in the 70s, couldn't hold a candle to. Any color, any sexual orientation, any disability, any nationality. It's all good, so long as they're not an asshole. We may be approximating Dr. Martin Luther King's hope for a world where people are judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Advancements in health studies and science for health has improved living conditions tenfold and continue to do so. So that makes me pretty optimistic.
No one lives forever, no one. But with advances in modern science and my high-level income, it's not crazy to think I can live to be 245, maybe 300. This is a quote from Talladega Nights. I'm not being serious.
Space. So much is unknown right now. Excited to see what can come in the future.
Watched the Falcon Heavy launch the other week and was amazed for the first time in a long time.
Understanding of history. We are at a certain point in time, during which we are well aware of what happened in the past. This is a newly available, highly useful feature of our generation. Hopefully it lasts. That we're almost at the point where we get artificial organs. I could use a kidney. Edit, guys, thanks a lot for your support, understanding, and most of all, the selfless offers you've made, be it a kidney or info. I love you all. Mental illness awareness is growing rapidly, and people are more and more willing to assist those in need.
Not only that, but people with mental illnesses are becoming less and less ashamed of said illnesses, and are actually seeking out help. Stigma goes both ways.
I'm reminded of Sam's speech to Frodo and Osgiliath in The Two Towers. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were, and sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back. Only they didn't, because they were holding on to something. That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo. And it's worth fighting for. That every day millions of people go to work in order to provide for their families, come home, talk about inane things, etc. The world over consists mostly of people with similar wants and similar needs no matter from where they hail or what they look like, and the vast majority of the time it just works. One tiny lapse in coordination and it could all come crumbling down, but mostly the world marches on. It's a brilliant blue ball of common humanity, and it pays to remember sometimes that for all that's horrible in the world, we're surrounded by a lot of good. The plummeting price of solar and wind energy. I quit smoking today.
Congrats. I quit last month after smoking for 20 years. Couldn't be happier.
The growing acceptance of people who are different. It might be a long, slow battle, but we are moving in the right direction. Most countries are steadily but surely moving upwards on the Human Development Index. This change isn't very noticeable on a day-to-day basis, but over the course of decades, the world is empirically becoming a better place. Not just in Western Europe, or in the prosperous bits of China, but in places like sub-Saharan Africa, which are throwing aside the historical weight of colonialism, civil war, dictatorships, and genocides to become better places for people to live out their lives. What about you? What makes you optimistic about the future? Share your thoughts in a comment.
Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon, it helps the channel keep growing. See you next time.